Heading into week 7, I think I could safely say that the NFL has been officially flipped on its freaking head. After the Monday night menagerie that we decided to call a primetime football game, I sat down and I looked at my fantasy rosters and I was just thinking, like, nothing this year has gone like to plan for anybody, or nothing has gone right, and a lot of odd things just seem to be happening this year. Like, why is it like the officiating has always been horrible, but when it comes to injuries, depending on whether or not you're a flourishing butterfly or a depressed hermit, you may know that there are 32 teams in the NFL. Now, at this point, there are some teams that can be considered like modified football teams because of how bad they are, but under the league rules and everything else, there are indeed 32 football teams in the NFL. Let me enlighten you, the viewer, with this wacky stat of the day, bro. That 10, let me repeat it, 10 of these football teams out of 32 are currently starting a quarterback that wasn't on their roster last year or was their backup quarterback last year. 10 teams. That's a third of this league. Now, I understand that injuries in this league are so prevalent because this is a rated M for mature sport, but for the amount of quarterbacks that are injured already to equal the amount of interceptions that Baker Mayfield has already thrown this season is quite astounding. As I look down this list of teams, we have very different types of teams here. We have some teams at the top of the league that are probably pretty hard to beat right now. They're kind of on a roll. Teams in the middle of the pack, they're not doing too half bad. They're like 500. And then we have teams that would be lucky to beat a TTFA team. The Cardinals will be who I start with first. Now, I won't go in any particular order. I'll just go down this list, and I'll kind of see like who is, I'll just examine their teams, pick them apart, see their best and worst parts of their teams. The Cardinals are a unique team. They brought in Jeff Klingstick. They drafted the first overall midget in the 2019 draft, and they're not doing too bad. 2-3-1 is not a bad record. That dumb tie, I hate ties. I think I'd rather lose than tie, or I'd rather have an actual conclusion to a game than a tie. He's made Larry Fitzgerald relevant again, which is good because that's what any quarterback on the team needs to do. And David Johnson is once again relevant again. So the team is using its pieces. Jeff Klingstick is doing a decent job, but they still got a lot of work to be done. The Jags will be who I hit next. Now, this team is very unique. They traded for Nick Foles, Super Bowl MVP, and the dude goes out and breaks his clavicle bone or whatever the hell in the first game, not even before halftime. Now, he threw that bomb to DJ Chark on that play, and that was just the beginning of what DJ Chark has done to this day. Now, we can't forget how DJ Chark has gotten to where he is, because we have to remember that freaking Gardner Minshew, this guy, when I heard Nick Foles got hurt and this guy named Gardner Minshew was in the game, I was like, who the hell is that? Well, let me tell you, he certainly showed who he was pretty quickly. After Nick Foles got hurt, they did lose that game, but he came in and he had like a 95% completion rating in the second half or something stupid like that. He's done very well. Their 2-4 record does not show how decent they've actually been so far, with the unexpected emergence of this man named Gardner Minshew. Now, they've also made Leonard Fournette a lot more, usable, you know what I mean? Like, he's become more of a focal point of the offense, and I think that's what the Jaguars have lacked in the past. Their best player just never was able to get anything going because Blake Bortles was their fucking quarterback. Although they did just trade their best defensive player and possibly the best corner in the league, I still think they're in pretty decent shape. Now, they're not tanking, but they definitely have a future now with the picks they received in that trade. So with the Jaguars, with their emergence of the Minshew mustache and maybe with the return of Nick Foles, however that will play out, I think they have a bright future with the picks, and they're definitely a team to look out for in the future. The Titans will be who I go to next, and there's really not much to say about this team. I mean, they have all the pieces. Their defense is outstanding. Kevin Byard is outstanding at safety. Their offense isn't bad. They have all the pieces except for the most important piece of a football team, and it's their quarterback, Marcus Mariota. Yeah, they're on this list because Marcus Mariota is not playing this week, and Ryan Tannehill will play this week. And let me tell you, I know for a fact that's not going to go well. So since Marcus Mariota is colorblind and cross-eyed, now they make this list, and they are just horrible. And I just can't get over how bad they are. They have Derrick Henry, Delaney Walker, who's a very solid tight end. They have good receivers who just haven't really seemed to break out yet. A.J. Brown and Corey Davis have been somewhat having breakout games here and there, but they have all the pieces. It's just they can't get their quarterback situation right. If Marcus Mariota wasn't so piss poor, maybe they would be a halfway decent football team. Unless they can get their head out of, unless Marcus Mariota can get his head out of his ass, then I don't see this team having any sort of future. I mean, their defense won't be able to carry them. They're already sitting at 2-4 as it is. they're not going to be able to do anything if they don't have a quarterback. So Marcus Mariota either needs to wake up or they need to tank because they just can't do what they're doing right now because Marcus Mariota is absolutely horrible. The Giants are next up on my list, and they also sit at 2-4 with the piss poor Titans, but they are in a much more optimistic situation than the Titans are, as they have a brand new quarterback. This dude has come out flying. Like, if he had better receivers and the injuries haven't been occurring so often, I think they definitely have a better record right now. I know everybody makes jokes about it now, but I remember sitting in Buffalo Wild Wings for the NFL draft, and it was a packed house. The Giants came up on the screen to make their pick. Everybody was loud. We're all interested to see. The pick is in, and the Giants take Daniel Jones, and everybody started laughing at them. And the Giants Twitter fans on Twitter or whatever, they were all like, what the hell is this stupid franchise doing? They were already horrible as it was. They already had no future. And this kid actually has come out and proved every single person wrong, and it's actually good to see. Like I said, if they haven't been so injury-plagued lately, I think they definitely have a better record, but nonetheless, they sit at 2-4. They have a much brighter future than those piss-poor Titans. I think they could be a contender. And surprisingly, their defense isn't that bad. So I think they definitely could be a contender in the near future, and everybody's got to watch out for them. The Dolphins are the next team on this list, but I'm not even going to waste that much time on them. They're the worst team on this list. They're so bad. They're flipping between Josh Rosen and Ryan Fitzpatrick. They had that blockbuster trade with the Houston Texans where they traded away their really only good players for a couple of picks, which I really don't even see why they're just so shit. They have nothing. They lost the game to the Redskins, which would have given them their only win of the season that I can foresee. They have no future with the picks they have. They're about to trade Kenyon Drake. So I really don't foresee much happening with this franchise anytime soon. So they're dog shit. The Broncos are the next team on this list, and they're another interesting team. Now, John Elway brought in the tall and lengthy Joe Flacco because he likes the tall and skinny white quarterbacks. But I think they're in a weird situation. I think the record doesn't show how good they actually can be. They lost a couple of games by one score or one play even. But I think they're an interesting team. They could have a chance to be decent. Their defense isn't horrible. Chris Harris is still one of the best corners in the league, but all of their best players are kind of nearing the end of their career. They're kind of nearing the end of the stretch. Philip Lindsay's the only younger guy who's really popped out to be one of the better players. Cortland Sutton as well, but I mean, otherwise, they really don't have much. I don't even know who their backup quarterback is. I don't know what pick they'll end up with either, so they're going to need a quarterback soon, and they're kind of in a now or never situation over in Denver there. As we speak, they do sit at 2-4, but I'm recording this video on Thursday, and they do play today, and I hope to get it out before that game. So they do face the Chiefs tonight, I believe. That should be a loss, if I'm not mistaken. But currently they sit at 2-4. I'm sure they'll give the Chiefs a fight, though, and it'll be a very Philip Lindsay-like game. The Redskins would be next on this list. Now, they're the second worst team in the league, second worst team on this list behind the Dolphins. They did beat the Dolphins this year in a very, very close nail-biter. It was a very interesting game. Not really, actually, but it was just a game between two piss-poor teams. The Redskins, though, they've been really injury-plagued, unfortunately. The loss of Alex Smith last year has really set them back overall. I mean, they struggled last year at quarterback. This year they got Case Keenum, who's been in and out with injuries. Chris Thompson, their receiving running back, he's, I think, suffering from a little turf toe right now. Adrian Peterson's a running back. They can't ever get him the ball because they're never in a decent spot to be running the ball. Jordan Reed, I mean, that dude is probably brain dead at this point with his 1700th concussion. But the bright spot on that team is Terry McLaurin. That dude is going to be a star come the near future. He is lighting it up on a shitbag team, and it's very exciting to see. I mean, other than him, there's really not much else. Dwayne Haskins has not really played out in their favor. Jay Gruden does not really like him based on current reports. So that team really does not seem to have a future. They'll probably get a decently high pick in the next year's draft, but their future not looking too bright over there in Washington. The Saints are who we have next, and I mean, there's really another team that there's really not much to say. I mean, everybody knows everything about this team with the whole blunder from last year and the championship game before the Super Bowl. I mean, they have one of the best teams in the league. It's as simple as that, with or without Drew Brees. Their defense is very, very outstanding. It's better than it has been in the recent past. They have Michael Thomas, one of the best receivers in the game. They have Alvin Kamara, one of the best receivers in the game. I think if this team isn't the best team on this list, and then it's the Panthers, which I'll talk about in a minute. But obviously, without Drew Brees, they're not as good. But Teddy Bridgewater, he was a backup last year. He played like one game, dare I say it. It was like kind of like a here you go, here's a gift game. It was kind of sad, honestly. I feel bad for the guy, but he's coming and he's done the job. Their offense is not the high-flying passing, scoring, lots of points offense that Drew Brees has made it to be, but he's doing the job, and it's just weird to see like another quarterback that just hasn't played much recently or at all, and he's doing pretty well. I mean, they just beat the Giants, I believe, right? They beat the Jaguars. They beat the Jaguars, and it was a good game, and the Jaguars were off to a pretty decent hot streak. You could say that the Saints don't belong on this list because Teddy Bridgewater's been in the league for a while and he's been on that team, but he is a backup quarterback. He hasn't really played in the recent past, so he definitely belongs on this list in my opinion. Although he might be a bit of an exception, he definitely belongs. And it's another reason why it's just so weird. It's like the dude hasn't played in a while, but he's still getting the job done very, very well. He's still utilizing his best players. He knows how to get the job done. It's very interesting to see, but very good for him. The Panthers I have next up on this list, and you might think I'm crazy for this, but I think they are better than the Saints at this current point in time. How both teams stand right at this very moment, I really do think the Panthers are a better team, and that simply is really because of Christian McCaffrey. Now, before I touch on him, I just want to say, I'm not going to take away anything from Kyle Allen. He's done a great job so far. The dude's 4-0. How can you ask for any more? But I think mainly it is because of Christian McCaffrey and teams going into games looking, how are we going to stop McCaffrey? What are we going to do to stop McCaffrey? It lets Kyle Allen just kind of sling the ball whenever he has to. Now, they are only 4-2 because Cam Newton, for whatever reason, decided to try and play through this bad ankle injury that he did not disclose until after week 2. So he hit the bench. Ron Rivera turned his head. It's like, hey, Cal, and it's your time to play, Cal. And now Kyle Allen's a starter. Kyle Allen's 4-0, and their defense is also playing very well. So this team is off to a very, very hot start of the season. I can't even say start of the season anymore. It's like damn near halfway. Their season's going pretty well with Kyle Allen. I'm very interested to see what happens with Cam Newton. But nevertheless, Kyle Allen, another backup quarterback. Dude's never seen the starting NFL football field, and he's out here balling. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, like I said, big part of that, but he's doing his job. This team is definitely no pushover. They're definitely a team to look out for in the future. They have a bright future, and I'm very interested to see how things play out with Cam Newton, like I said. So I think just watch out for the Panthers. They're the best team on this list. They're one of the best teams in the league right now, and they're hot. And when teams are hot, they're dangerous. So look out for the Christian McCaffrey Panthers. The Steelers are last but certainly not least on this list. Now, they are very unique. Ben Roethlisberger gets injured with his elbow and needs Tommy Dick surgery, whatever the hell. I don't know. He needs surgery. Then comes in Mason Rudolph. Mr. Checkdown. I've never seen somebody throw to his running backs any more than this guy does. This guy he's like Tyrod Taylor on steroids and tunnel vision because this dude did not see downfield. He just threw to his running backs. And then he gets popped. He got murdered by Earl Thomas. This dude's as of today, he's out of concussion protocol, and I don't get it because he died. He literally died. I saw him fall and hit the ground, and he was dead. I've never seen somebody just flop. I have seen people flop like that, but that was so bad. He flat out died, and he's still playing. He's not going to play this week. But anyway, then comes in Devlin Hodges or Devin. I don't know whatever the hell his name is. He comes in and faces the high-powered Chargers offense. And they beat them. Devlin Hodges, this dude has yet to play an NFL game. He's a third-string quarterback coming into the 2019 season, and he beats the Chargers. How bad are the Chargers? I mean, the Steelers, granted, they put up 24 points, so he did his job. The defense also put up some points, but he did his job. But, I mean, then again, the Chargers, what are you doing? You let this guy beat you? How bad are you, Phillip Rivers? You and your 9 kids go take a damn hike out of this fucking league because that was embarrassing. The Steelers team also does sit at 2-4, but I think they also have a bright future. I'm kind of grouping them in with the Giants more because they have the pieces. They just need to put them together, and the quarterback just needs a little more help. But I think the quarterbacks need to utilize the pieces they have more. I'd almost kind of throw them in with the Titans, but not the piss poor side of it because the quarterbacks that the Steelers have are good. Marcus Mariota just isn't. So, but they both have the same common problem. They're just not utilizing their other tools around them. So I think what Devlin Hodges or Mason Rudolph, whoever plays, needs to just utilize their tools more. Because Juju Smith-Schuster is one of the best receivers in the league, and the dude had one catch for 7 yards last week. So I don't know what that was about. But I think that's their biggest issue right now. If they could figure out the passing game, they can get the ball to their playmakers more often. That's not just James Conner and Jalen Samuels and Benny Snells or whatever the hell. I think they'll be a lot more successful. So that team is definitely going to be good in the future. Even when Big Ben is gone and he's fine, that team is going to be good with Mason Rudolph or Hodges or whoever ended up playing. So that brings me to the end of the list. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I didn't mean to drag it on this long. I kind of got carried away talking, and I can't go back and shorten it now. That'll take way too much time. But if you made it this far, thank you so much. Next video will be nowhere near as long. I appreciate all the support on the last video. I didn't think, like, compared to my other videos at least, it would not get as many views as it did. So thank you for that. I hope you guys stick around. If you like what you see, like and subscribe. And I'll see you later in the next video. Blah.